Hey, what's going on, guys? Wired Gaming back again with some more Generation Zero. How's everybody doing? Hope you had a great New Year's Eve and had some fun over the Christmas time. And living the dream, unless you're in the UK and in lockdown, same as half the machines in Generation Zero right now. But today, there are no machines. What we're going to be doing is going over all the crafting resources and how you can get them. What we're going to do to start off is go over to our crafting bench. We're going to have a little bit of a look and go through what the resources are and the primary ways. Let's do it. So there are 13 resources in total. Now, most of them are very easy. We have got copper, steel, thread, tungsten, rubber, electrolyte, lead, adhesive, explosive, aluminium, titanium, plastic, and textile. Now, the majority of these can be found in the open world and on machines. The only things that are limited are copper, electrolyte, lead, and explosive. Everything else you can find on machines or in the open world, those can only be gained through dismantling items. The best way to get any resource is through dismantling items. Now, you can do this three primary ways: through dismantling equipment, through dismantling ammo, and through dismantling weapons. First off, we're going to go through equipment. Now, everything has required resources, apart from weapons and attachments. Weapons and attachments you can disassemble on their own, but everything else has to be in bulk. So required resources are 5 for a landmine. With that 5, you will get 2 explosive, 4 steel, and 1 lead. It's not really much. The best thing to dismantle is the adrenaline shot, because it gets you electrolyte, plastic, titanium, copper, and tungsten. Now, electrolyte is something that's very rare. It's the hardest thing to come across, and copper is something that you will use a lot of, especially if you're crafting your own ammo. So it's up to you whether you'd want to actually give up your adrenaline shots. If you're doing a lot of farming and you've got a few hundred, then it will work really well for you. Now, another place you can get electrolyte is through EMP cells. Very simple. Just dismantle 10. And with poison tanks, 5. Field radios is 5. Once again, electrolyte. See, electrolyte is really good for crafting the what they call the EMP rockets. So it's good to have a nice chunk if you do need it. But once again, everything is dismantleable. You can absolutely destroy everything, and you get a nice chunk of resources from them. Now, best thing to actually dismantle is experimental weapons. When it comes to weapons and attachments, now that all depends on the level of said weapon and attachment. Now, as you can see, from an experimental, you are getting a nice chunk of stuff. Now, each weapon is different depending on what you get, and each level is also different, which is a little bit of a bummer. But let me just show you this. As a 2-star there, 2 adhesive and 5 steel, and then for the 3-star, 3 steel, 6 steel, 3 adhesive and 2 titanium. So it all depends on what level and the weapon is, really. And that's the same for attachments. We've got an N16 extended mag there, adhesive 2, steel 5, titanium 1. Now, it all changes, once again, just depending on the level. So, in my opinion, it's really, I just dismantle pretty much everything that's gold that I don't need, and everything else I throw away, and eventually you'll get a nice old chunk. Now, experimental weapons, if you're going after the Reaper like mad, they are easy. You won't need to dismantle anything else if you're just going through experimental weapons. Now, it's so simple. And it's the same also for the melee weapons. Now, they also give different levels depending on what they are. Now, we've lost the box. There's the box. For the experimental, once again, you get a nice chunk. It's not as much as the guns, but it's still a nice chunk. And then for the bat and the sledgehammer, average, It's good, but I would recommend dismantling experimental weapons over anything else. And everything else, to be it depends how you are as a player, really. If you like to keep everything, then obviously do so. But I just always bring back my duplicate experimentals and dismantle them. Everything else gets thrown out whilst I'm on the field, purely because I don't want to carry it around and waste a lot of all that space that I could be bringing ammo and meds with me. So the best way to get lead and copper and explosive is through dismantling ammo. Now, you can't get copper anywhere other than, well, you can get it through slight other things, but your best bet for copper is through dismantling ammunition. Now, pretty much every piece of ammo gives you 2 explosive and 1 lead per the required resources. So for full metal jacket, you need 50 of those to get you 2 explosive and 1 lead per 50. Now, 100 of the .32 ACP. So depending on the ammo type, the more you'll need. The better the ammo, the less you need. Now, with armor piercing rounds, that is where you get copper and explosive. Now, once again, per required resources, 100 for 2 explosive and 1 copper. So if I was to dismantle 300 of these, I would get 3 copper and 6 explosive. Now, what you really want to be doing is dismantling any of the ammo that you don't use, or even if you do use it, keep your preferred ammo and just dismantle a few hundred of the ones that you're not using so often. That way it keeps your storage nice and low and also gets you the copper that you need. Now, it's definitely one of the best ways. An easier way to get it is through high explosive rounds. Now, you dismantle 4 of these for 2 explosive and 1 copper. But if you're going around destroying tanks, the little Phoenix runners with the rockets on them, you will start to mount up a lot of these and it will happen very fast. They weigh quite a chunk as well, so it's good just to do this every so often, and it gets you a nice chunk. Now, with the smoke rounds, you get 2 explosive and 1 aluminium. Now, with the... let me grab some out of here quick. Electromagnetic pulse rounds. Now, this will get you the hardest resource you can get. There are several other ways to get this, but we will go into them in a moment. For now, we are just on the ammo. Where's it gone? Oh, I don't like the new inventory. It stresses me out. There we go. You will get 2 electrolyte and 1 copper per 4 of these EMP rounds. Now, electrolyte seems to be the hardest thing to actually come across. I've only gathered 22 of those, and I don't think I've actually used it. So, they are quite difficult to get, but they're good to have. So, yeah. Now, let's go over, have a look at the machines and what components they give you. Now, each machine varies. What I've done to test this theory is basically gone after 10 of each machine, and I've gone through the majority of what you get from that. Now, some of these machines, from what I say, might give you something different, but if you're after a certain resource, then it's best to go after that said machine. Once again, machines are not the most profitable way to get components and parts. The best way is dismantling. But if you're out there trying to get your region level up, then it always helps to just take up some extra crafting components as you go in. Let's do it. So, first off, we are starting with the runners. Now, these guys are military class, but pretty much with the runners, Prototype, Military, Phoenix, and Apocalypse, from what I've seen, have all given adhesive and steel primarily. So, fairly easy. The orange ones, these green ones, the black and red ones, and the green lighty uppy ones all give steel and adhesive. Along with Seekers. Seekers give steel. Now, those are the little flying annoying things, but don't really need to worry too much about them. They only give you 2 or 3 steel per go, so not really worth hunting them, and just kill them as and when you see them, really. Next up are the harvesters. Once again, these are not limited to, but these are the most common drops. That's a runner. Get rid of him quick. Now, with the Prototype are the orange ones. You will get adhesive and steel. With the military, you will get, which are once again green ones. You will get adhesive, steel, and plastic. And the Phoenix, which are these black and red guys here, you will get steel, plastic, adhesive. And finally, for the Apocalypse, which are really, really the ones you want to be going for, farming them from a harvester is always a great way to boost up your supplies, as you get aluminium, steel, adhesive, plastic. Occasionally you'll get tungsten, so those guys are the OGs. That's where you want to be heading for some of those higher level resources. Next up, we're going for the harvesters, which are these guys here. Sort of like the crab looking things. Very cool machines. They're quite fun to deal with. So for the prototype, which is the orange one, once again, these are not limited to these resources, but this is the most common that you'll get. Now, rubber, and that's about it from the prototype that I've noticed. And with the military, once again, the green military style tank with like the camo pattern on them. You get rubber and adhesive. And for Phoenix, the black and red, you will get adhesive and titanium. Titanium is a real good resource. You're going to need quite a lot of for your crafting. And finally, for the Apocalypse, which are the green bad boys themselves, you will get rubber and tungsten. Now, occasionally, you can get plastic and steel from these guys, but those resources are the main ones. And now for the tanks. As I said before, it's not limited to these, but these are the most common resources you'll get. For a prototype, which is the orange-yellow one in front of me, you will get steel, rubber, adhesive, and plastic. Now, for the military, which is the green camo type machine, that is mainly rubber and steel. For the Phoenix, unfortunately, the only thing that I've really got from them is plastic, which is a bit of a ball ache. You can sometimes get a little bit more from adhesives and steel, but mainly I've been finding plastic. So, yeah, bit of a ball ache, but you know. And the best one that you want to be going for are the Apocalypse. You will get titanium, rubber, and steel. Occasionally, you get the adhesive as well. So that is it from me today, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and we will see you very soon with some more Generation Zero. Peace!